Good morning, friends. It's November 27th in the morning, and I wanted to do in this video a really quick recap and also cast forward into the future regarding themes in this particular channel, as I think, especially if you're new to it, you may be confused, you've sampled a bit. What are the themes here? What is the scope of what we talk about? For example, sometimes I mention Urbit. And what does Urbit have to do with anything? Well, for example, Urbit and the network state, this particular lecture on YouTube is all about cyber nations, kind of like virtual nations, right? In my blog, this has long been a theme. How do we have nations that do not require vast, contiguous amounts of territory? In other words, you've got a campus here, a campus there, and they're more like salt and pepper sprinkled around, not like jigsaw puzzle pieces. And if you wonder what that would look like, well, just think of a corporation. Or think of a university system that has campuses all over the world. So if you get admitted to X, you could go to a campus like Temple University has a campus in Tokyo or something like this, right? So virtual nations will stay a theme and will link me to Urbit in one way or another. There's the other way I link to Urbit, of course, is the Martian math meme, or just Mars versus Earth, two whole paradigms, two different ways of thinking, contrasting them. And you can click different things into those slots, Earth versus Mars. Earth usually would stand for the normal, everyday way, and then Mars would be the weird, offbeat sort of. Maybe it's subgenius. Maybe it's, in my case, I often put synergetics, Bucky Fuller's philosophy, in the Martian slot and contrast it. But in the Urbit world, they put Urbit in the Martian slot. In other words, the weird, the alien, the paranormal, whatever you want to call it. By paranormal, I may not mean anything like supernatural, by the way. You need to disentangle those concepts. Then 52 living ideas. Let me show you. Do I even have my camera turned on? Can I turn the camera on in the middle of everything? Let's see. No, once I'm rolling, I can't turn on the camera. So let me pause the video here for a second. I want to show you my new acquisition. Let's just stop this for a sec. Okay, let me get this other computer in the picture here. This is around Black Friday. What does that mean? Like yesterday, or today's Sunday, so Friday, last Friday. This past Friday was Black Friday. And that means you could buy stuff cheap. Like I got this Windows laptop here for a mere $99 with free shipping. And what we may see on the front here is our friend Sri Kant talking about the coming year at 52 Living Ideas, and he's excited to really dive into the Bucky stuff. And so I've been trying to keep up to date on those plans. This is New York and Philadelphia, and then this 52, this Math for Wisdom list, which is slowly growing here, that's based in Lithuania. And these are places I'm suggesting you could join the conversation and or just take this as a model of what I suggest be a focus for you if you're interested in this kind of stuff, which is join some discussions, some conversations, find people online. Don't make this just a solitary, unitary experience. You want to be rubbing shoulders with others, and the internet makes that really easy for all its faults, right? And it does have a lot of faults. Speaking of which, Twitter is a big topic these days. Let me see how quickly can I get to my own Twitter page. The topic being freedom of speech, let's say. And I take the point of view that we overly suppress the Bucky stuff, like in high schools, where it belongs, actually. In terms of American history, you don't really say it's a public school if it doesn't teach really American history. And that includes, of course, 9/11, which means theories around it. You know, you do teach that there's controversy. You're not pinning the teacher to a particular viewpoint. Teachers aren't designed to have to defend anything in particular. They want to teach critical thinking, so they can come in the classroom with one view one day and another view the next. But, okay, is this my Twitter? I have a pinned tweet. So on the subject of free speech, I'm thinking, who gets back on Twitter, like Trump or whatever, Alex Jones, still banned. That's one conversation about free speech. But what was really shocking to me in terms of ending free speech was the banning of RT, Russia Today, from Germany, from the US. It's like, if you don't have the emotional maturity or intellectual maturity to allow alien propaganda, then you're too fragile, too brittle. It's like we should all be able to watch each other's propaganda so we can get insight into how we think. So in my pinned tweet here, and I'll close with this, I write in a kind of a weird way here, but that's just me. The children of Twitter, including blue ones, focus on re-welcoming the band in the name of free speech, and I get that. Not trivial. However, who is tweeting about letting RT back on YouTube and cable? Thems be the big leagues. I'll be looking to follow to keep tabs. What I mean by that is I'm looking to follow people on Twitter who have bigger ideas of what restoring American values might look like. And that's also in connection with Critical Path and Grunch of Giants and What is the Grunch, all this Fuller stuff. If your browser will let you go to an HTTP site versus HTTPS, usually Firefox won't put up too much of a fight. You can use this as an entry point for where I come in if you are following this particular channel and want to go into the Bucky stuff over my shoulder, like Applewhite's Visit Oregon. They're reading about Applewhite in the Trim Tab Book Club is another place I recommend that you might want to join. Kurt McNamara is running that. And they're reading Cosmic Fishing by this gentleman here at Applewhite. This is on their visit to visit me. I was very happy to drive them around. We went to Crown Point, and I wrote some cryptic stuff about that. I mean, I was very much working on my relationship with Ed. It was working well, by the way. We were pretty good friends, but, he was pretty old and had his health issues, and my wife had her health issues, and we ended up having a, curtailed relationship, you could say. But it still worked out. It was still very positive. So come to my website if you want to, again, dive into your own American history, because this guy had some responsibilities in the government and stuff that you might want to study and learn about. And I'm not a know-it-all. I'm saying there's way more to research here than I ever could. And there's a new biography, by the way, by Alec Navalny. Let's see. I said I was going to end with that last thing, but I'm trying to queue up stuff. If you're new to this material and you're wondering where can I start, where can I dive in, there's also a new Bucky bio. Inventor of the Future, The Visionary Life of Buckminster Fuller. This guy Ed Applewhite, you'll find him also in that book mentioned. Because this new book is a lot about his relationships. You can get more about his philosophy, his metaphysics, from authors such as myself who specialize in that. But when it comes to access to the Stanford archive and knowing exactly what was Fuller doing on any given day and any given year, he was an obsessive chronophiler, obsessive scrapbooker. He'd be great on Facebook and so on. But he did this all pre-Facebook. So we have a huge amount of information to study on Bucky Fuller. So if you're a scholar diving in, don't worry about running out of material anytime soon. And so that sort of sets the stage. Welcome aboard. Those are the themes. Quakerism is a theme, by the way. I keep extending this, but I keep thinking of things to say. Quakerism is a theme in that Quakers had this strong belief during the Industrial Revolution in a kind of utopian company town where everyone had education, health care, maybe it was even worker owned, I don't know. The thing to do is to read that Bucky bio, maybe in combination with The Dawn of Everything, because you want to remind yourself if we do have affordable communities, places where we can try out different lifestyles with all these affordable props and stuff, prototypes, then it pays to remember how many things are already being tried. And I'm not saying we're not successful. I'm not saying tried and failed. I'm saying there's many experiments we need to do in terms of lifestyle and how utopian can we get. And it's not an imposed on the whole world kind of experiment. It's not even imposed at sort of all 42, 58, whatever number of states there are in the U.S., 50, right? It's not about, oh, let's get a whole state to do this or let's get the whole union to do this. What this is something small, and what the U.S. is, to the extent that it has freedoms, is like a motherboard that gives resources and context to all of these experiments, be they state level or just what you might call cults. But I have a very open minded definition of cult. It's just short for subculture, like a political party would be a cult, no doubt. No doubt. And that's obvious today. Couple cults there in DC, but they don't run the show anymore. All right. Talk to you soon.